By the end of this video, you should be able to analyze factors that encouraged people to move west, and you should also be able to compare and contrast push and pull factors. So open to your notes section, take good notes, hit pause at any time, rewind, see me if you have any questions. So to start off, we're going to take a look at push and pull factors. Have you ever heard of that before? You may have in other classes, but these are reasons why people leave their homes and decide to go settle somewhere else. And there are social, economic, and political push or pull factors. They're opposite. A push factor is always a negative. So if something is going badly where you live and it's negative, pushing you to leave, that's called a push factor. A pull factor is a positive. That might mean that something really good is going on somewhere else, pulling you away from your home. You're going to want to remember push and pull, and I'm going to give you some examples. Social examples of push factors: overcrowded cities, spread of disease. A lot of times when you have very crowded cities, one person gets sick and it's easily spread to the others. Religious persecution, meaning that you're not allowed to practice religion that you want to in this part of the country, so you're being pushed away to the west. Economic push factors: lack of economic opportunity. Another term for economic opportunity is jobs. If you can't get a job, you can't make a living. So that might push you out of where you live to find work somewhere else in the West. Political push factors: slavery in the South, obviously, and there weren't very many leadership positions. That would be reasons to push people from where they are. Pull factors: these are positive. Social pull factor could be religious freedom in other parts of the country out west, pulling you there. Hope for a better life out west, pulling you there. Economic pull factors: fertile farmland. That means that there's land where you can grow things, and a lot of the land in the east was cities, and you weren't able to grow things there. So out west there was more fertile farmland. Precious metals like gold and silver, which are worth a lot of money. And new job opportunities, all economic pull factors. And lastly, a political pull factor is that slaves were able to gain their freedom, and that would be pulling them out west. So make sure you have a good handle on push and pull factors. They're very, very important. Okay, now I'm going to go through some reasons. These are push and pull factors, rather push or pull factors, that encouraged people to go out west, to settle out west. You are going to have to decide if this is a push or a pull factor, and hopefully you'll be able to, by the end of the video, decide which each of these are push and which are pull. You can see I have an animated map here, which is nice, showing land growth across time. One big factor was the desire for land. Farmers were always looking for more and better land. There were stories of fertile soil and huge crop yields in the West. That means lots of crops, especially in this part of the country, which is the Oregon Territory. Lots and lots of fertile land there, and that's the main reason why people would go west to the Oregon Territory, because of the fertile farmland. Public land could be purchased for as little as $1.25 an acre from the United States government. Sometimes the land was even free. Better climate out west. Winters were milder, which means that they were warmer than they are back east, and the growing season was longer, which means you had more time to grow your crops. There was also more than average rainfall compared to the east. Health concerns in the east. There were frequent illnesses and diseases in the east. Again, this is because the cities were so crowded. Can you guess, is this a push or a pull factor? Overcrowded cities contributed to the spread of disease. You should be saying to yourself for each of these, is this a push or a pull? Religious freedom, here's the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And it goes on. Minority religious groups had the desire to escape religious persecution in the eastern United States and in Europe. Persecution means that they were treated badly, unfairly. And some groups, such as the Mormons, the Mennonites, and other ones, decided that they were going to go west so they could worship the way they wanted to. Better social conditions for African Americans. Obviously, many slaves in the South would go out west to live their lives in freedom. Many African Americans found a better life and greater economic opportunities in the West. Remember, economic opportunities just means jobs. Most African Americans who went west were free, although some slaves did run away to reach the western lands. Fortune seekers, can you guess what this represents? I'll give you a clue. It's in California. If you said the gold rush, then you were correct. That's what this picture represents. Many went west to get rich quick, planning to return to their families and homes in the east. Frequently, when an area wants to become a state in the United States, the people there have to wait a long time for the federal government to make their area a state. Well, because of the gold rush, California became eligible for statehood within 2 years. That's very quick for an area to become a state, and that was because of the gold there. Of course, Manifest Destiny, and we talked about this in class. Of course, many believed it was the fate of the United States to expand its borders, so they felt it was their duty to aid the expansion. It was their job, their fate, to expand to the west. And you'll have to answer this yourself. Is this a push factor or a pull factor? Economic cycles. Now, this means basically that as time goes by, people have money, have jobs, are doing well, and then sometimes people lose their jobs and lose their money and aren't doing so well. When people are doing poorly in regards to money, when lots of people are out of work, that's called a depression. Actually, a recession comes first, and then there's a depression. And a depression hit the East, the economic panic of 1837. Thousands lost their jobs in the cities. Crop prices dropped, and this was another reason that people moved out west. Is it a push or a pull factor? Fugitives. Sometimes criminals and slaves went west to escape punishment. You might have heard of Billy the Kid. He was a famous outlaw who fled west to escape justice. And lastly, there was the increased knowledge of the geography. You can see an old-time map. This is from about 1820. More information was available about the western lands and the routes to get there. John Fremont, for example, traveled the Oregon Trail and charted a series of maps. The more people went out west, the better maps they had. Push or pull. So I want you to think about these 10. Hopefully you've copied them in your notes. If you haven't copied them, then rewind this video and make sure you do get them in your notes. These are very important, and you'll definitely see them again. Of course, as usual, see me with any questions, and I want to give you a little bit of a teaser as to what's going to come next. Something called the transportation revolution. As people move out west, it's going to become clear that walking or riding your horse is not the best way to go. And with new inventions, such as the steam engine, it's going to allow a lot more people to go out west. And what this basic invention is going to lead to is what we all know today. So once again, see me with any questions. Make sure you've taken good notes, and have a nice day.